Hello and welcome to AutoNerd. Today on the AutoNerd, we're going to cover the Matchmaker's Playbook. This is the playbook to take your notes and paint that picture to get that customer motivated to buy a car. Now, in episode 60, we talked a lot about getting that information from the customer, doing a killer needs assessment, and then taking that information and compartmentalizing it in such a way to prepare us for the Matchmaker's Playbook or the presentation. Now, the presentation is an area that many of us will do things like feature dumping or data dumping or what I like to call waterfalling, where we just unload on the customer. And the mantra of, well, product knowledge is the number one thing that you need to sell cars. We're going to break that in about 2 seconds. The reason is product knowledge is important, but how you interact with people on the daily is far more important than that. If you've never listened to my channel before, my name's Andrew Sardone. I've been in this business for the past 25 years as a trainer, and even further than that, selling cars for a long time. My job is to help all of you make more money. That's my goal. And the reason that I've gone down this path is because I've walked very far in a lot of your shoes, and I've trained thousands and thousands of sales consultants to be the best possible versions of themselves on the showroom floor every single day. It's kind of a passion of mine. I've studied dealerships, spun wrenches a long time, sling parts, and, well, walked many miles in your shoes. Primarily helping you understand how humans work so we have the ability to make the highest gross profit possible. So mash that subscribe button, mash that like button. This is real talk. Let's get on into it. I remember once I had a customer come in and they were coming in on this old Volkswagen Passat we had. As I'm talking to these individuals, they're asking me a few questions here and there. And I was like, hey, you know what? Fine. You want to know everything about the car? I will tell you everything about the car. And I basically recited everything the trainers said back to them. They ended up not buying. Actually, they ended up running away. The reason was is that they didn't expect that much equipment to be on the car. They totally expected to buy one. They didn't buy it from me. And the reason for this is that, well, I showed them far too much. They actually straight up said, there's a lot on this car, potentially a lot to go wrong. Well, they came in for service a few weeks later on a used Passat they bought somewhere else. They got what they needed. I realized one major flaw is that if we concentrate on product knowledge too much and not on the individual, we end up waterfalling pretty quickly, just giving them every single feature that's on the car. For example, if you're given a walk around on the vehicle, do you really need to cover things like window switches? Yeah, sure, maybe all of them do auto up and auto down, but do you really need to cover it? It's a lost piece. Mainly, the human brain can only withstand so much information in about an hour period of time. And I've limited this to 7 to 9 maximum things that we are allowed to show the customer. 7 to 9 things basically means that the customer can organize these items in their brain and then be able to easily move along and create an area of acceptance once they've realized that that vehicle is perfect for them. So, to back up my little story with some stats, because many of you that have listened to you for a while know that I love my stats. Forbes found out in 2024 when they were doing a CX study that 54% of customers actually preferred an emotional connection over a feature data dump. And it actually makes a lot of sense as to why. Features on the vehicle don't necessarily sell the vehicle. The customer, when they come in, they're already sold on the car. Seriously, ask yourself the question, why are they walking through the front door? Are they walking through the front door initially to make a friend, or are they walking through the front door to do what they do in every other store on the planet and simply buy a car? Most people, when they come in, are looking to simply buy what they've been researching online, and it makes perfect sense as to why. That's how we shop for everything. But they're talking to this overeager individual in most cases that wants to sell them something, but knows that we have been told that you need to start with a needs assessment and features and show them tons of stuff. And that's not how things are sold. Things are sold by accommodating individuals and showing them how things can have a positive transformational impact on their life. And this is really the root cause of needs assessment. It's the ability to get to know that individual and then pass that information on. Because if 54% of people want an emotional connection, that means that over half the people that we interact with every single day really could care less about most of the features on the car until we get to know who they are and we go through discovery and we're able to take those very specific things for that customer and tie them back to their life. And once they're tied back to their life, Now they're glued to that vehicle. Now they're glued to that feature. Now they must have it. And so this takes a little bit of talent, but really when you concentrate on that first 20 minutes, half an hour, you can really get the customer to start to understand that, hey, I am in it for you. And whatever you tell me, I'm going to use it to help you understand how this vehicle is going to work great for you and also motivate you to buy this thing at the highest dollar possible because our job is to make a commission so we can pay our bills and do everything else that we need to do. Notes are one of the most powerful things that we can take as we're working with customers. I know that sounds very open ended. When you're sitting down in front of somebody, just sitting down with a notepad, like actual paper and an actual pen or pencil, it shows the customer that you've eliminated all the other distractions that are around you. You're focusing wholly on them because for the next 2 hours or so, they're the most important person of your life. And I do always recommend setting the focuses on your phones to eliminate a lot of those distractions. Keep your kids out of the conversation for a minute, keep your friends, family away for a little bit so you can just hone in on that one person. Now, as you take these notes, looking back through them later on provides you that roadmap. And if you've dug deep enough into each one of those particular features that you've listed, what you find pretty quickly is that you can see the emotional thread that ties through the whole thing. And you've been talking to the customer as well, hopefully for 20 minutes, half an hour by now, that you start to understand the customer's temperament. After you have understood who they are and you get your bearings on what exactly is going to make this customer go, oh my gosh, this is amazing, take a look at that list and map it out. Now, the tool this week, the free tool, that is connected to this, the link is down in the show notes. It's called the presentation mapper grid. This is where we start to label things like need, wants, and fears and connect them to packages to show, connect them to items that the customer is really going to enjoy, and connect them to things that are motivating, things that are money makers for us. Using those notes also gives you an incredible ability to make recommendations, sound recommendations, right from the desk instead of having a one-off the cuff conversation with the customer on the lot of that big SUV over there might work for you, but cost, let's pull around a little one. Now the customer's trying to justify cost. Or if we go ahead and pull around a vehicle or let them pumpkin patch and just pick out whatever vehicle they want, like a 5-year-old, next thing you know, they're picking the biggest thing out there. And yeah, does it meet every need and want? Sure, we can make that justification. So yeah, you did a great job. You matched them to their needs. You just got them everything. I call that lazy. Get a vehicle that's gonna work. I know many of you out there can pick a mid-range vehicle and still connect the customer's wants, needs, and fears to particular items on the vehicle. So when it comes to needs, for example, the customer's going, safety for my family is crazy important to me. Cool. I'm gonna look at the vehicle and I'm gonna match whatever ADOS kit or whatever safety suite that manufacturer has. Do the things that make the customer's heart tick. Mainly, if safety is important to you, I'm going to show you safety, but I would need to know what kind of safety. Do you need safety so you're not running over cyclists in the middle of the night? Do you need safety so when you pull up to an intersection, your vehicle is going to hammer on the brakes if all of a sudden it detects an impact? What kind of safety are you looking for here? And when you get into other areas, let's say like technology, this is where you may need to take it slow. And this really does depend, I hate saying it, a lot of the times on the age of the individual, just because we have a whole generation, the older generation, that when it comes to tech, they've been a little left behind because tech has moved at a very quick rate. And seeing that they didn't grow up in a world of tech like we have today, a lot of people tend to say, hey, you know what? I'm not interested in this. And so the fear starts to come up and write down some of those fear moments and maybe make a space on your note page of like, this is what the customer fears. I need to show this in a light that they understand to make it not scary. Remember, especially with technologically deficient individuals, they need to basically go to their grandkids or find somebody that they can talk to that is under 15 years old to walk them through a lot of the basic things. We got to play that child for a minute and go, hey, technology, it's not that hard. We just need to look at it through a different lens. And so write down maybe a note about their emotional state, maybe not on the piece of paper right in front of them, go, this guy's angry or anything like that, or this person doesn't understand any tech at all, idiot. Don't write that down. But Write down something that you can queue up as you're pulling around their vehicle. Because remember, we never let the customer walk the lot. Anytime you let the customer walk the lot, your paycheck and gross profits go down because we're letting the customer select the vehicle, which, if you're a customer listening to this, it might sound a little bad to let the customer select the vehicle. But if I'm letting the customer select the vehicle, ultimately all the time, it's the wrong one for their needs and their wants. And it may actually amplify a lot of those fears, especially if they're like, I've always bought the most expensive luxury car ever. And now they come in, they look at the most expensive one after they've had 15 of the previous one. This next one's a spaceship. So they may need to switch cars this time. Keep these in mind because, as we mentioned before, it's not exactly the feature that matters. It's the why behind these features. And when we figure out exactly what that why is, it's time to capitalize on it. And it's time to explain to the customer in a way that they can mentally digest. But we limit these number of features down to anywhere between 5 and 9 things. You'll hear me say 5 and 7 an awful lot because I like to keep it on the low end. Sell those. It never in the whole history of automobiles has anybody successfully sold the whole car, meaning that the customers bought into every single little thing that's on it. We really need to pay attention as to what they want and then help them out. So presentation mapper grid is going to help you out with this in the free tool. Go ahead, click the link in the chat and hit the download button and just download it. It's super easy. Now, a brief pause before we go any further. My apologies to anybody that's relied on Saturday Dispatch. Not going out the past few weeks. And I know I've reminded myself many times, set reminders, and time just was not on my side these past few weeks. And the reason is actually something pretty good. AutoNerd is growing legs and we are expanding. Yes, things are happening. A program that I've been working on for a very long time called AutoForge has finally made its way into the dealerships. And it is a program that allows dealerships to improve their SSI and CSI statistics rather quickly based on what actually needs to be fixed. Essentially, AutoForge is us sitting down with management, owners, few sales consultants, few service managers, and figuring out exactly what the issue is and training better behaviors to resolve that problem. It's a very cool program and it addresses those root causes. So those root causes hopefully never come back. The program itself is currently available. If you're looking for information on it, just shoot me an email, andrew@autonerd.com, and I'll be happy to send that all over. But that has been gobbling up all of my time because it is such an awesomely focused program on how to resolve a lot of CSI and SSI and customer experience related issues inside the dealership. Now, in addition to that, you may hear a new voice going forward on these episodes. This is going to be my buddy Jared. Jared comes from a background of heavy CX. This guy, when it comes down to bad qualities, I can't find one bad quality when it comes to his interactions with customers. With that, I'm happy to bring him on board as our CSO over here at AutoNerd. Now, in addition to all of that going on, we are breaking out even further the free elite and pro tiers of our program for individuals. So in the next few weeks, we'll be launching those live on the webpage. So you can enroll in those at a fairly good cost, giving you the ability to up your personal game. And if you're at the dealer level, of course, we have that program. Just email me, andrew@autonerd.com, and we will get your whole team, the whole dealership. And that's one of the coolest things about this program. It's a holistic process. We're not just training sales. We're not just training service. We're not just training parts or F&I. We train everybody at once on the same topic every week to get improvements to happen on those report cards from your manufacturers. Again, if you're interested, andrew@autonerd.com. So back to the stuff. Now, 88% of customers said that they would only buy from a trusted advisor. And I got a kick out of this because a lot of the times when we look at our surveys, we'll find all of a sudden scored very poorly here. Well, why? Because they didn't trust you. Now, in our business, when somebody come in, many times we force them into the vehicle. We stop them right there and we slam them into that car and we do everything that we can to make darn sure that car goes down the road. Great. That's awesome. Welcome to 1931, where we have a sales process that does not build the customer in at all. We have to understand that today society is changing, and with societal change, we have to adapt to it. So if you're somebody out there that's like, well, it's always been this way, guess what? It's not anymore. I'm sorry. I talked to a guy the other day that's been in the business for like 50 plus years, and he's still carrying on the same way that he did in the past. And he's watching his sales slump. He is watching his numbers go down and his paycheck being eviscerated. And he was asking me, well, why is it this way? And I said, you have to update the way that you go about needs assessment, the way that you go about relationship building, because how we did it in the past is no longer how it is today. Things like Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Yelp, it's all there to go ahead and say, here is where the best emotional connection is going to be. You'll very rarely see people put on in there, well, the price of the car was too high on Google. And if you do see it put in there, they're angry. Why are they angry? Get to the root cause of that. You're going to find out pretty quickly they were on the wrong car to begin with. But Stanford Memory Lab in 2023 did come up with a statistic that really does make that Psych Institute statistic bubble up to the top and give it way more meaning because remember, Sales Psych Institute in 2022 said 88% of customers buy only from trusted advisors. Cool. Well, how about this one for you? Emotional stories make facts 22 times more memorable from the Memory Lab at Stanford in 2023. Eh, Hold on. So I can make my presentation, my whole sales process with this individual more memorable by a factor of 22 times just by getting into a lot of these emotional areas and making them enjoy themselves and getting those emotional stories to bubble up. This is crazy. This means that you have a likeliness that is far higher of getting that customer back in down the road than any other sales consultant that felt the need to just simply make it transactional of car, car, car. 85% of the conversation has to be about the customer. Only 15% should be about the vehicle that you're selling. I know that sounds weird to many of us, but it's not the product and it's not the price. These two have very strong gravity when it comes to the customer to make a solid financial decision on the vehicle. But they are by far the smallest items when it does come to the customer's decision. You see, we're the number one reason that they don't buy. We're the number one reason that they do buy, which means that we have to tap into that emotional playback essentially, rather than a pitch. We have to spend a lot of time understanding who this person is. And after we understand who the person is, then we can relate things to their life like how many soccer balls you can fit in the trunk, and how your kids in the back of the car are going to be super happy with the hotspot that's inside and the USB-C ports that are all over the place. Point is this is that we're not auditioning for the History Channel here. We're trying to connect the dots that the customer's already drawn in their head. It's just our job to get that roadmap, all those dots that are connected out of their brain so we can display it to them on the vehicle in a way that shows that this vehicle is the best possible option for your needs and not anything else. This one right here, keep in mind the facts and the figures on every single feature of the car, they matter. The emotional connection matters far more to that person than anything else. Keep in mind, 22 times more memorable just because of emotional storytelling. That's huge. And if so few consultants are spending time on the emotional items because they're yucky and weird and, their emotions and, capitalize on it. Because baking emotion on into your personal process is going to 100% change how that customer comes across to you. Now, part of the Matchmaker playbook this week is getting us to see that, yes, the emotional power of buying far surpasses that of feature set on the vehicle. Keep in mind, features are still important. They just need to be honed to that specific person and have emotion baked in. Well, here's a few examples. One strong example here. You told me safety was a top priority of yours. Yeah? Yeah. So before we go in the horsepower, which is the fun thing, let's start with the systems that can protect your kids. Does it sound good? The customer is going to say yes to this because it is the top thing. When anybody has a strong need, they need to make sure that those needs are fulfilled first before the wants and desires are. Mainly, what we're doing here is we're game planning. This is the ability for us to go, okay, we're going to hit on the logical thing first. You want safety, let's get safety. I know that you mentioned horsepower a little bit in there because it sounds like also that accident was caused by too much horsepower, but let's move this to I'm going to show you the logical stuff so you can get the thought items out of the way, right? The little stressful things. And then the next thing that I'm gonna show you is gonna be a very positive, strong emotional draw connecting you to that vehicle. And that's gonna be sounds like if you're a sports car person, which this person sounded like they were a little bit, horsepower. So with you, horsepower is gonna excite you. I'm gonna show you that second. That's gonna be closer to the area of you signing the deal and saying yes. So I'm gonna position those things a little further down the road and get the mundane items, the things that aren't gonna make you go, "Oh, wow," out of the way first. And here's a poor example, and I hear this one all the time. It's got adaptive cruise, it's got lane keeping assistance, it also has this, like, awesome blind spot thing on it. Do you have any questions? The customer's not out there shopping for a brochure. They're out there shopping to verify that this thing is actually gonna work. But when we go in the full-on brochure mode, the customer doesn't care about us anymore. I mean, what the heck's the point? Seriously, they can open up their phone and go, "Oh, hey, look, it's got that, 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 and that. I know it has that because, well, I read it right here." Again, our job is to partner with them. Our job is to help them. Our job is to counsel them. Our job is not necessarily to quote unquote sell them. If you're trying to quote unquote sell them, then customers give you a lot of pushback. If you try to help them, all of a sudden the game changes a bit because as I help you, I'm baking your emotions into everything and I'm making sure that they're going to be in check. We're driving anxiety down and we're driving your ability to say yes up. That's kind of the point here. Family buyers and performance buyers, they're going to be the same. They're not going to be any different in this behavior. It's you buy things based on necessity first, and then you align it with emotion and desire. And the desire will be what pulls them into the deal and gets your profit going up. The necessity items are the check the box sort of things. It's got airbags, check. It's got brakes, check. Things like that. And then you get into the performance and the fun factor. And that is what makes the deal profitable at this point. Now, Dealer Performance Data did a study on reinforcing these things on the test drive, and what they found was is that if you hone in on the items that the customer does want. Now, I'm not talking about needs. I'm talking about wants and desires, the things that carry strong emotion, the things that create smiles and wow moments. Well, your closing ratio went up by 20 points. And this was because you knew what the customer wanted, you knew their emotional temperament, and then when you hit the test drive, you zoned in on those particular items and you amplified them. Now we need to make sure that we can pull this off. How do we do it? Well, I'm giving you a leg up. In the show notes, as I said, you will find the link to the presentation mapper. Now, the Light, the Pro, and the Elite trims are all going to be on there for free right now until I can get the subscription up and running and my beta tests are complete. They're getting better every single week. If you haven't seen one of these tools yet or you haven't played with one, just grab one down below. Seriously, it is free training. Just grab one and you're going to see what I'm going to be offering in the future here. So take advantage of it because when we look at discovery, discovery is not an easy thing for a lot of people. It's drummed into us to speed things along and hurry because apparently we need to get that deal done right this second. No, we need profit to be high and we need that vehicle to go. But again, if people buy from people they know, like, and trust, and they know me, they like me, they trust me, it turns out that if they're not buying it this minute, they might buy in the next minute. We got to slow our roll just a little bit. The presentation mapper will help you out with this. And here is your weekly challenge because each one of these throws a challenge out there for the whole week. Now, the challenge is there for us to change our behavior and cement good habits instead of taking all of those old habits that we've used for so long that make us question, why am I not improving? Why am I not going past any additional units or anything along those lines? Or why am I getting crappy survey after crappy survey after crappy survey? The reason is we need an update every so often. Or if you're new in this business, it gives you the ability to understand why exactly customers may or may not desire to work with you, or maybe how to bump up your gross profit. Either way, the presentation mapper is there. So this week, the challenge is this: use that presentation mapper with at least 3 customers and see how many light up when you mirror their words back to them. Grab that free tool. It's down in the show notes. You got to sign up for the Saturday dispatch, and I promise they will start going back out again. Just need to get my bearings on things. We'll get everybody, whether you are the brand new sales consultant or you are the manager that's been there forever and ever and ever, you're going to get that a full packet. It's going to be a great example of what this thing looks like. And if you're a manager, feel free, download the thing, and I quite literally tell you right there, say this. And there you go. Now, again, if you are interested in AutoForge is a different animal, but it carries along the same lines. It's just fully customized with over 30 years of experience baked into what your dealership needs are at this exact moment. But this will give you a really good taste. So grab that thing and just repeat back to the customer. All right, so you're looking at this, you check their emotional state, you jot it on down, and then when you pull the vehicle around, you have a fully fleshed out presentation that attaches their life, their emotional side, what they'd like directly to that particular vehicle. In the end, it's going to help us build trust and it's going to help us provide a presentation to the customer that proves that this is the best vehicle, but also proves that you are the A number one best person to get them to buy a vehicle from. And as a manager, with these tools, especially that elite tool and the guidance that it provides you, you can start leading. You can stop dragging. And I know as a manager, a lot of the times we turn into this, it feels like an overglorified babysitter sometimes. And if you're a sales consultant, I don't mean any offense by that. As a manager, we have our own emotions we need to keep in check. But being able to take a piece like this of the Matchmaker's Playbook and create a week-long activity for all of your sales consultants not only provides you the opportunity to train your consultants on a new skill or refining an old skill or taking an old skill that has gone rotten and sour and replacing it with something great, but it also gives you the ability to show your leadership quality. Remember, if you can make somebody better and you are a kind individual, these items of being able to teach somebody something new allows for them to look at you as a mentor, look at you as a resource, and then it brings that individual into your little sphere of influence. And now that individual is, well, they trust you. They're going to be there for you when you need it. And this is why leadership is so important. And I bake a lot of that into those tools as well. Again, click that link and make that happen for your team. It's a simple download and press print kind of thing. Next week, we're going to be diving down this thread a bit more. I'm going to take this for as many episodes as I can, as far as taking the emotional side and layering it into everything that we do. Because, again, the things that you have in your life, the big television on the wall, the beautiful car that you have, the next generation cell phone that you have, think about it. Do you need those things in your life? No, you do not. But you made some basic justification through needs of why you need it based on the emotional driver behind it. So we cover that need first, and then we dive into emotion, and this gets the person to go, "Oh yeah, yeah, I absolutely need this. You made all the right justifications," and that's what we're looking for. So again, grab that tool. It'll help you out. Next week, we dive all the way down into test drives. And like I said, we're going to pull this emotion all the way through, and we're going to see how we can take these test drives and anchor those emotions and close cleanly. Yes, we will go through some trial closes. We will take a look at what needs to be done on that test drive to keep that emotional response really super high. So until then, go out there, spread the kindness, spread the caring, and well, subscribe to the podcast. It wouldn't kill you. Click that like button, click share, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one and sell, 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 sell. I'll talk to you soon. Auto Nerd out.